Welcome to Raise Nation Radio, the podcast for nonprofit movers, shakers, and change makers. We are here to fuel your passion with a daily dose of fundraising inspiration while keeping the conversations and connections from the annual Raise Conference alive all year long. Tune in for fresh perspectives, bold strategies, and the hottest trends lighting up the nonprofit world. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, buckle up. Each episode is packed with lively discussions, expert insights, and creative solutions to help you make an even bigger impact. Now get ready for another exciting episode. Please welcome your host from One Cause, Dawn Lego.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Raise Nation Radio. So excited that you're tuning in with us again today. It's been a long journey, 4 years here at Raise Nation Radio, and we've just traveled every corner of the nonprofit world on this channel. It's been so exciting. We've had such inspiring stories, and it's all thanks to you. So if you are new to the community, please go ahead and dive into 170 plus episodes and just discover what makes this show so special. If you've been with us before, thank you for being a fan and a friend. Your support is what makes this community shine. So go ahead and get settled in, get comfy, and we're going to dive right into another uplifting episode with my guest. Please welcome to the show, Barb Smith. Barb, how are you? Thank you so much for joining Raise Nation Radio.
I'm good. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I know you've been feeling a little bit under the weather, but you look beautiful. You sound great. So hopefully that's behind you. We're glad that you're recovered. So can you tell us a little bit about you and your nonprofit, what you do, your journey? Give us the whole story behind it and how it all came to be and how you're impacting communities. We want to hear.
All at one time, right?
All at one time. I know. What did I put I don't know, 5 questions into one there.
That's okay. So I am Barb Smith and I'm here in Saginaw, Michigan in the U.S. And
what, Michigan? I don't know.
Saginaw,
I'm not from
Saginaw, Michigan.
Saginaw.
So, Michigan has a map.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're here.
Got
we're
it.
right
Okay.
here on the map. So our network started about 35 years ago. My brother John was 20 years old when he took his life. So it's been a long time. And in my world of suicide prevention and aftercare, we talk about finding purpose for your pain. So this journey started with me trying to find purpose for my pain. And so we started grassroots, where I was just as young and vibrant and I guess full of, I'm going to make something happen, right? I don't want this to happen to any other family. I need people to understand. And I had no clue, no education on it, but just a lived experience. So I took my personal experience and decided I wanted to get trained by the best of the best in the country. And we are the second longest running support group in Michigan, meaning our mission is to prevent suicide through education, advocacy, connection to resources, and to care for people impacted by suicide. So what that long mission statement means is we work a lot in the prevention arena. We do a lot of training and education to anyone from middle age to adulthood. And so we do lots of education around suicide prevention. And then we are an advocate. So I was on the Governor's Commission, Suicide Prevention Commission, for a 5-year commitment. And I belong with many, many other organizations to do some advocacy work on how can we prevent future deaths to suicide and be a voice for families impacted. And then our survivors, supporting people impacted by suicide. We work in multiple areas around people who've been impacted, whether we're on scene with law enforcement. We support families from the onset of their suicide grief. And we have an ongoing support group. And then I train also people who can be a support. So, I always say I'm very blessed to be with people in those moments and then to be able to walk from that journey of where they can't see life to helping them live a new life. So that's really what we do. We have multiple programs that fit all of these needs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I applaud what you do to have turn grief into positive action.
Yeah.
I empathize a little bit. I lost a cousin who took his life and left his wife and 4 little girls.
Yep.
And it's not an easy journey by any means.
No.
How many brothers and sisters are you?
Well, there was 9 of us, and yeah, there was a whole bunch of us. So he was number 6 and I was number 7. So
Okay.
we were in our little pecking order, we call it. So he was my older brother, and we always called, like, he was the fun one, the smart one, the one that everybody went to, and the fixer, and he just had a big heart and he wore it on his sleeve, right? So oftentimes people who do take their life are the people with the biggest hearts. They feel deeply, they hurt deeply, they love deeply, and many times they don't know what to do with their pain. And in the pain at his moment, he didn't know what else to do with it. So we just want people to know that no matter how life is challenging, how hard it is, that there's so many other options besides suicide.
Yeah. Is the whole family involved? Are your siblings involved in
my sisters help me a lot. Yeah, we call this like a family network. So I started independent, and now we are a staff of 4, and we are not only local, regional, but we are now nationwide.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're recognized for the work that we do. We've been a model program for many organizations. A lot of people focus on prevention or aftercare or mental health, and our network really encompasses all the areas of. So, yeah.
So, next month, we're recording this at the end of April 2025, and next month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I suspect that that's a very busy time for you. Not that mental health stops in other months, or the focus or of that. But what are your plans for May to change the narrative, right? To change the narrative, and
that's a
what's
great
the
question.
boost in May?
In May, we do I guess we do many more presentations and trainings. So I feel like people reach out more. They want more education. They want us to come in. So I feel like our calendar is definitely filled with a lot of trainings, a lot of prevention and awareness trainings. So we're going in some schools, mental health agencies, Rotary clubs. So we train multiple levels, different types of trainings for different audiences.
Yeah. So talk about the programming. How have you developed the programming? What are you most proud of? How are you impacting those communities? I feel like every question I'm giving you 5 questions in one, but this means so much to me. My cousin lost his life to suicide on May 3rd. So
that's coming up.
May being the month. It's just, and so it's coming up, the anniversary. It's very painful. And maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the signs, because I certainly didn't see this coming, but I do want to talk about your programming and how you're impacting the communities, and what have you created?
Sure. So in our prevention efforts, so we do multi-tiered trainings, prevention trainings, we call it. So I use Living Works trainings, which is based out of Canada, and we use assist trainings. So if we look at the perfect tiered of training, if we go into communities and we do assist, ASIST, Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. So it's a very long word. So it's called assist. And we teach people to first come to terms with their own experiences around suicide. And then we move them to the model about using their experiences and this tool to recognize a concern for suicide. How to have a deep conversation with somebody who's having those thoughts, and to understand why suicide came to their mind, and be comfortable with the conversation, right? Because everyone's not comfortable talking about suicide. And then we move them to developing a safe plan, keeping that person safe with both formal and informal supports. And then we create a safety net around the people who are in the training. They build a very strong relationship after 2 full days of sharing and intense training. So we create safety nets within the training. So we train 30 people in that training. Behavioral specialists, anyone 16 and older, but PhDs to bus drivers to superintendents to HR, law enforcement, firefighters. So a mixed group of people come in and they learn. And then the next layer is called Safe Talk. And that's a half a day of training. We teach people to learn to recognize a concern for suicide, ask the question, and then connect them to people who can do much more of the work. For you, you might say to a friend, I've noticed that You haven't been yourself lately. You lost a lot of weight. You've been drinking more than you normally do. And when you said you can't take it anymore, I'm wondering if those are means you're having thoughts of suicide. So we teach you to ask in a very caring way and very direct. And then you would take your friend to the person who could help her to decrease her pain and teach her some life skills besides suicide. And then the next layer would be maybe going into a school assembly. So the safe assist would be behavior health. Then we go and we train all the staff on Safe Talk. I'm just taking like a school example. And so we go in and we train all the staff on Safe Talk. And then we go in and we do an awareness program for all the students. So then I go in and I do a suicide awareness.
Layers and layers.
Layers and layers, because we can't tell kids to go and talk to the adults. They want to help you if we don't teach the adults how to be helpers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we can do a lot of anti-stigma campaigns, which are important. But if we don't teach people how to be helpers, when people do come forward, we're actually doing more damage than good. Right. If I tell you to go out and get help, but nobody knows how to have a helpful conversation, then you might feel more hopeless. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing is it's worse to not have the conversation. We must get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that we can do is just say, okay, that's uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm not going to have that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody was having heart attack symptoms, right, you'd say, I noticed that you're sweating, you're slurring your words, you're telling me you're having a hard time swallowing. That sounds like heart attack symptoms. And, we need to get you checked out. It's the same thing, right? If you don't recognize the symptoms and you don't respond to them, then death can happen. There's really no difference. It's like
is there a socioeconomic, I want to bust some myths, right?
Sure.
Suicide is not targeted to a certain socioeconomic. It has no boundaries. It could affect anyone. Is there a certain age group or a gender that is at a higher risk?
Sure.
Let me understand some of these things.
Sure. So in 2023, we had 49,300 people died by suicide in the United States. Ugh. And that is more than homicides and more than car crashes. But we don't want to talk about it. Right. So that, to me, that's very sad. But we know that older population, which this surprises most people, like who do you think has the highest suicide rate? What do you think the age is? What do you think?
I was going to say teenagers. Am I wrong?
Well, it's the second leading cause of death for our teens, but actually the older population is the highest rate. Between 80 and 85-year-old males are the highest rates.
Whoa.
And people don't tend to hear them. We don't listen to them. Oftentimes they give us some indication they might be having a thought, but I feel like sometimes we can't ever comprehend that our grandfather or our father would ever take their life.
Yeah.
So that is the highest rates of suicide. So historically, it's always been the older population. And for about 3 years, it was our middle-aged males up on, I think it was from, and I don't want to get my numbers wrong, but probably 2021, 22 maybe. It was middle-aged males. For the first time ever, it was middle-aged males. But now it's going back to the older population.
What are the signs? Are the signs similar for gender, age group, different populations, or does it vary?
It varies, but they're similar. So one thing we try to remind people that behavior change is the number one. A behavior change for anyone is enough reason to ask about suicide. So behavior change could mean drop in grades or work productivity, increase alcohol, substance use, sleeping more, sleeping less, eating more, eating less, more anger and agitation. People don't always look at anger and agitation as a sign, but there's a lot of frustration when someone is not feeling mentally healthy. Depression is the number one factor in deaths by suicide, both treated and untreated. But we need people to know that depression is treatable. But a lot of times people get frustrated. It can be a long journey. It can be a challenging life for people who have bipolar. But if they get the right treatment, it's definitely people can live a very successful life if they get the right treatment. So
what is the one thing in your journey? Because you've obviously educated yourself, put together quality programming, right? I think many, many nonprofits start from a personal experience, and we applaud all of them, right? Because we're trying to build a better tomorrow and do good in the world. But I find you, Barb, a little bit exceptional in that vein. because you seem to have underscored quality and
Yeah.
education. What surprised you the most in your journey as you learned what you needed to learn to impact your communities? What's
I think the fact that people are very ignorant to suicide, and now I'm getting old, and I look at, when I started this journey, I feel in some ways we're still back there. Like I work with a lot of lead
one
suicide
step forward,
preventionists.
two back?
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so the pendulum went from we don't talk about suicide to all health care providers are asking about it, and mental health professionals are asking about it, but they're not still trained on how to have the conversation. We're being trained how to ask, but what do we do with the answer? So now the pendulum's going to come back down.
When I go to the doctor now,
Yeah, yeah.
that all the forms that I fill out, they have that question.
Yeah.
But that's it. It starts and ends right there. So
Yes.
good point.
Oh, and I'm glad that you said that, because that's been an experience that a lot of people, I feel like, in the healthcare, and I think we're getting better. I mean, I have to say it's getting better, but the pendulum went from nobody asked, everybody's asking, but nobody follows up on your answer, Dawn.
Yeah.
And how is that helpful if you're having a thought of suicide and you finally get to this place that someone's asking you, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can talk about it.
Freedom.
And then nobody asks you.
Right. Then dismissed.
It's dismissed.
I mean, it's insult to injury for sure.
Yes.
My.
So we have to do better. And I think we're going to do better. But I think we have to get
thanks to organizations like yours. Yeah.
But it's a little frustrating sometimes because, I'm not a
Thank
PhD.
you for pointing that out.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone intentionally means to hurt people, but I feel like we have to get comfortable and not normalize suicide, because it shouldn't be a normal thought. It's a common thought. And I don't want anyone to feel bad or embarrassed or ashamed that they think of suicide. I want them to know that a lot of people have thoughts, but we can help you and get help with those thoughts. And let's figure out what to do with them, because we can't take away a thought, right? What do you do with it when you have it?
Yeah. Can you share a story without using names of somebody that you helped that really just stood out and touched your heart? Is there a particular story? No names, just...
I have lots of stories over my journey. So I had a gentleman, and his father had taken his life. And when I was sitting around the table with the family, I do something called normalizing that, even though
you personally will sit around at the table with families, Barb?
Lots of families. They're my
people. You say that.
That's my people.
Gosh,
they're my people.
You're a hero, and you're so nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I was
Beautiful.
sitting at a table with the family, and the dad had taken his life about 3 weeks before. One of the sons sort of alluded to understand my dad, because wife was saying, I don't understand why you would do this. The other brother said, I don't understand. And this brother said, I understand why my dad would do this. And I said, that makes me wonder if you understand why your dad did this, if you oftentimes think of suicide, because it's not uncommon. And he looked at me and he goes, yeah. And his mom just started sobbing. The other brother was crying. And I said, so tell me about your thoughts of suicide. And it's just like he just started sometimes I feel like I hurt my family. I'm not as good as my brother. And I've been a disappointment to my parents. And I just kept doing eye contact because I didn't want him to stop telling truth. And I didn't want to hurt his mother. But they needed to know what his secret in his mind was. He had the secret. And I said, so I wonder how long you've been thinking about suicide. And he was probably 24. And he said, probably since I was 16. And I said,
heartbroken.
I said, how many times have you attempted? He looked at me and he looked at his mother and he said twice. And I said, okay. I goes, now that your dad died and now that you shared this, I'm wondering if we can get help for you with not only your loss of your dad, but help for yourself. And he has spoken out a couple times with me, and he's living a successful life. He had to get some medication. He was diagnosed with depression that he didn't know. He just thought it was normal. So he self-medicated a lot with marijuana, which cycled him down because he stopped working. He got financial distress. So, he was self-medicating instead of getting prescribed medication.
Mhm.
So his whole family actually, with his dad's death, he found another life that he hadn't known in a long time. And now his mother and his brother know, and it actually brought them closer together because they understand.
Beautiful.
So I love this story because a lot of families have secrets. And when you open up the conversation for them to talk about suicide or mental health openly, it opens up an opportunity to create a bond and to be more supportive instead of feeling alone.
Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that
You're welcome.
story. I'm sure anyone listening from your community probably know who you're referencing. So all the strength to that family in
thank
their
you.
continued journey. Thank you so much for sharing. I
You're
think
welcome.
you've impacted all of us, and we're really feeling the feels, but that's good, right?
Yeah,
Platforms like
yeah.
this to
Mhm.
have a conversation and to be aware and educated, exactly
Yep.
why Raise Nation Radio exists. But you're 4 people. How
Yeah.
are you doing it all? Your programming is exceptional, high quality. You're talking about sitting around the table with family members.
Mhm.
How do you keep things going?
Yeah.
I know you're going to go into the fundraising world,
Yes,
right?
yes,
It
yes,
takes
yes.
funds, it takes power, it takes volunteers. So
Mhm.
how do you keep that engine going to keep the other engine going?
Well, my staff is amazing. We have one person that keeps track of my our grants and our financials. And so she takes care of a world that I'm not comfortable with. I don't like it. So she keeps me on
Smart
track.
leader. You
She's a
surround
smart
yourself
leader.
with,
Yeah,
right.
that's not my wheelhouse.
I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It's
Yep.
not my thing. Let
Yep.
me find somebody great to do it. Good for
And
you.
she's phenomenal. And then Anne does all of my scheduling, my calendar, and she takes on all of our fundraising events, which we have 4 big events a year. So Anne,
4 a year.
Yep. So Anne is my chair of those events, and then I'm her co-chair. So she has taken the lead on all those events. And then Holly, she does all of my trainings, coordinates all my trainings from my hotel rooms to my connections to my handouts to my ordering of books. And we make it happen. And then all of our events, we have really good volunteers that they've been doing these events with us. My 3 sisters are phenomenal. Like someday I'll have to hire them, but they've been doing it just.
Oh, you just put it out in the universe. They're going to come back in. Yeah.
Ask how much I'm paying, right? Yeah, but they've taken on that role. Even my nephew is like my key person of logistics. And then we have a lot of volunteers. A lot of survivors come back and they help us. So my survivors moved from, I say in our support group, like we built this nest for them to come and rest their head and their hearts. And then
I love that.
Yeah, then they fly again. And then they come back and they help new people and they help us with our events, whether it's making chocolates for the event or doing registration.
Ooh, chocolates. I want to come to that event.
That's a good one.
So 4 events a year. Let's talk about them. What are the names of your events? Sounds like your heavy event.
Yeah, I'll do my smaller ones first,
okay,
and then
sure.
I'll tell my big ones. So our smaller one is we do Mental Health Awareness Night, which is called Talk Today, Hope for Tomorrow. So we were one of the founders with our Ontario Hockey League here in Saginaw, Michigan. We lost one of our Spirit hockey players to suicide, a young man named Terry Trafford. And we started with a theme night called Talk Today, Hope for Tomorrow. So if you're a hockey fan, it's here today, NHL tomorrow is their theme. So we call it Talk Today, Hope for Tomorrow. And we had 5,000 fans at our arena, and we do I think we had 25 vendor tables, resource tables at that event. We call it the Red Room. And every OHL team also has the same theme night around the country. How cool is that?
Oh, so I see. Very cool.
Yep. So we do this in honor of Terry, but it's also a way to bring mental health awareness to arena with a high population of males, which males are the highest suicide rates. So that night we have big things up on the Jumbotron. We have about 25 vendor tables. We have guest speakers, my survivors who are survivors of suicide loss. They do the displaying of the Canadian flag, American flag. They do puck drops with me. They do personal messages, lived experience. And then this year, one of my survivors, she sang the national anthem in honor of her husband. It was beautiful.
I'm sure.
So
that dry eye in the house.
It was so beautiful. And so my survivors take part in everything. This is their voice. I help them amplify it.
Hmm.
And then
And that's your small event, you said.
yeah, it starts. Yeah. But it's not a huge
Okay.
fundraising event, but it's an awareness event, fundraising,
Sure.
all in one. And
Yeah.
then we do something. This is not a fundraising event. It's called Hope Starts Here. That is the
That's
event.
one I'm familiar with. Yes.
Well, I think Hope Starts Here is in November, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and it is for all of our survivors that have been impacted by suicide. We have about 175 survivors, and we bring in national speakers. We do art therapy, healing activities. We have about 25 tables that all cater to grieving people and to help them in their grief journey. And it's a way to bring survivors together, to bring hope, understanding with loss. So I love that day. We do it in Frankenmuth, Michigan, which is the biggest Christmas tree community in the world. And so, if you
little
think
fun fact there.
Fun fact, because, I think about for survivors of suicide loss, the most difficult time is holidays. And so bringing them to this beautiful world of holiday together, where this venue that we use, they treat them with such love and care that it's done with such respect. And it starts them off on the holiday season, but it brings them to a space where they're cared for and respected. So that's Survivor's Hope Starts Here Day. Then we do our Walk for Hope. That's my baby.
That's in your signature line right now. I saw it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So our Walk for Hope, we had 1,800 people last year. We moved it to different locations, and this year is at Saginaw Valley State University. And that is a day where we raise funds and awareness. So we have about 45 vendors.
Like peer-to-peer? It's like a peer-to-peer program?
Well, no, we raise funds and awareness. So it's for people who lost to suicide, people who struggle with their mental health, for anybody who wants to support us. We have about 45 vendor tables, raffles, live music.
You've built quite the community.
Yeah. And, we try to keep it balanced between fun. It's a K, walk, run. It's untimed. We have people that donate our archway. Our bands are donated. The vendor tables, they all come. We actually ran out of room last year. Raffles. So we keep it upbeat and hopeful. So we raise funds and awareness. And last year with your platform, we raised $100,000. So I know. So this year our goal is I would love to raise $150,000. We're learning.
Well, we just put that out into the universe. So that's going to happen. Yes.
Yes, because our network is predominantly based on fundraising and grants and memorials for families that have been impacted by suicide. So we charge very, very little for our services, if any. So we charge more for company trainings, but for all of our families that we care for, we don't charge for our services. So that's where our money comes from. So this is the way we bring our community together. We bring hope. Families this is our 22nd year. And some of our families from 22 years ago, they still come into town to meet up with other families that used to come to support group. It's sort of the way they get together and they meet and they take pictures and they hug each other and they look where they not are only surviving, but they're thriving. That's how I look at it. They're not only surviving, but they're thriving. And that's really our purpose in life. And our mission is to help people to learn to live, whether they've been impacted or they struggle in life.
So we're so proud and honored to have played a very, very small role in some of your event fundraising. Was this the first year? Did you use the One Cause fundraising platform? Is that the technology?
I think this is our third year with One Cause. Yep, we moved from another platform, and I love One Cause, and I know that's not your purpose for bringing me on today, but I think it's worth noting that we can't be successful unless we found a successful platform. And with our trainings last year, we hosted 62 pre-trainings, and we also use One Cause for our platform to promote our trainings. So we So everything's in one
Good
place.
way to get the most out of it.
Well,
sure, we
is,
want
right?
you to get that.
Yeah. And it keeps people donated. It allows us to keep track of our donors on that platform. So to me, One Cause has been a godsend. It's been a great platform for really amplifying our message, right? And the way we do our walk is people get to register individuals or teams. So for an example, my team has always been called Team Flutterbys, which is an odd name.
Flutterby's. Okay.
Flutterby's. But when my niece was younger, she couldn't say butterflies. She'd call them flutterby's.
Flutterby's. Okay.
And she has bipolar. And so we walk from my brother who's died by suicide, my sister-in-law who died by suicide, and my niece who struggles with bipolar. So it's also about new beginnings in life. So our team is called Team Flutterby's. And then, so if I start my team, I can invite multiple family members to be part of my team using one cause. I can share pictures of my brothers and my stories on my page, and my sister can use her own platform under the same team. We each get to send our messages out to our own friends. So one cause allows us to amplify our message to allow more people to not only know about our event, but to know our stories. So my survivors of suicide loss, so these are my people that have been impacted by suicide, they get to use their loved ones' pictures. They get to share their stories. They get to send it to their friends. And this is a way that, I call it that ripple effect, right? Like it's not just my brother's stories, but it's many people's stories that connect. So one cause gives us the platform to do that. And then so we build our teams. And sometimes I have some of my survivors from a long time ago. They like competition with me. So I have one survivor, Carmen.
There's nothing wrong with friendly competition if you're raising money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carmen lost her nephew to suicide. So she's okay with me saying his name's Evan. So we would try and up like who raised more money, who had more people on their team. And if we get to the end and like I'd be donating $20 to up hers and she'd donate. So it becomes a game and kind of fun. Good fun.
But
good
game with
fun.
purpose, right?
Game with purpose,
game for
with
good.
fun. So One Cause has been a beautiful platform for us. It's easy to use. And I would encourage any of your listeners, when we need help, we get stuck because there's so many different options that we can use. And we don't even use it to capacity. We're just getting more comfortable using it. So that's been a beautiful way for us to use our voice. Also for our registrations, we can just continue to use it for the same types of trainings. We just change the dates, the locations, the sponsors.
There you go. Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. It has saved us so much time, offers
With a team of 4, you need to be streamlined.
Well, and that's what we learned on is if we're going to be doing the work of 15, 20 people.
Sounds like you're doing.
And we are. And so we needed a tool that could help us do this. And we have almost triple the amount of people that we're reaching. When people are registering, we're not registering one by one or on a different platform that was very impersonal. One Cause allows us a lot of vibrant colors in there and some interaction questions. So we just love it. And I know you didn't ask me to promote you, but I do want you to say
didn't.
that. But you're helping us. You're
We're
helping us
honored.
grow.
Yeah.
And you're helping
We're
us grow.
honored. It's a small role in all of your efforts and journey, but it's an important role. That's why we do what we do, and we really do want to empower you and help you grow your impact. I mean, we live that every day from our CEO up and down, right? Every day, how can we help nonprofits grow their impact?
And I think we are. We're impacting people locally, nationwide.
Crazy you are.
So crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy. You're a perfect ambassador.
Thank you.
For suicide awareness. I think I don't want to but there was a plan, a plan greater than mine, right? I don't want to get religious or spiritual because not everybody's in that space, but I think there was a plan in the universe for Barb Smith, and it strikes me that you're doing exactly what our community's meant for you to be doing.
Well, in my world, John, we talk about suicide, doesn't need to destroy you. Suicide changes you, but it does not need to destroy you. And if I just rolled up and died, then my family would last more than just my brother. So I would take him back in a minute. Like all of this could go away in a minute if I could have him back. But that's not an option. So what I can do is I can keep his voice alive. I can keep his memory alive. And, when I started this work, that many years ago, it was about John. Every ounce of my moment was about him. But I've moved from, this is not just about my brother John, this is about all people that we've lost to suicide. Mm-hmm. I work on a lot of scenes with families in those awful moments, and I don't ever want them to believe that their life, their pain did not impact me in a way that we can't go out and make a difference. Because to me, that's even more of a loss and more tragedy is when people die and there's no purpose to it.
Right.
So
Right.
that's been my
Yeah.
mission.
Well, thank you
And
for turning it
yeah.
into purpose.
Yeah. And with your nephew, I hope that if you ever need, if your family needs to call,
Ugh,
like just call
and
and we can have a
so
conversation,
hard.
especially with
Yeah.
kids, right? But
Yeah. I
suicide,
think about my
yeah,
3 little,
yeah,
cousins, and
yeah. But,
their
Don,
future is hard.
suicide's not about killing yourself. Suicide is about ending mental, emotional pain. And if we can get people to understand that there's so many other ways to end your mental,
And
emotional, or physical pain, that the pain that goes with a person that takes their life, like their pain ends, but that pain continues on in the families that they left behind.
yeah.
And I don't think they see beyond their own pain, because I know my brother wouldn't have ever done this. If he knew the pain he was going to leave behind, and sometimes I'm like, how the hell did you not
That
know
wasn't
that?
at the
How did
forefront.
you not,
Yes.
like, you knew this would hurt me and Mom.
Yeah. No.
But I don't think he did. I think
Yeah.
his tunnel vision in that moment was about his own pain. So when people say suicide is selfish, I don't think it's selfish in a way that they didn't think or care about anyone else. I think that their pain was so deep that it was about their own self. So it was selfish in a way that it was about their pain in that moment.
I actually believe that it's selfless. I think that they think there's such a burden
Sometimes.
to their,
Yeah.
so I think it's a self, but
Yeah.
either way,
Either way,
better
the
to
outcome
just
is
try to,
pain.
yeah.
The outcome is, what do we
Oh,
do with
goodness.
it, right? What does your family do with this? And how do we learn to live without them? And how do we make changes so no other family has to go
Yeah.
through this? Like, that's my role. I can't change what happened, but I can change how I
Very
live.
stoic of you.
I can't
Stoic
change
way of
that.
thinking.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't change it. I mean, I didn't always feel that way, Dawn. Like, there was the
Okay.
first couple of years I couldn't get out of bed, and it was 100% on my mind every moment of every day. And that's what suicide grief does to people. Yeah.
Well, you've been so generous with your time, but I do have 2 more questions. And
Sure.
here I go asking half
That's
a dozen
okay.
questions in
That's
one
okay.
question.
That's okay.
But I think the first thing, we'd love to put a lot of this story, resources in the show notes,
Sure.
so that people, can read and get a little bit more flavor than what we've been able to share just in this episode. What do you need? Right. And we know monetary support, right? I'm sure there's a donate button somewhere on your website,
There
and we
is,
can all
yeah.
take advantage of it. But tell us, what else do you need? If somebody's listening and they're moved as much as I am, and I know Raise Nation community, they call to the action.
Yes.
Tell us what else you need that we can support.
What I would encourage everyone, 2 things. If you are listening, please sign up for a training. Everywhere in the country, there are trainings just like ours. Look for the trainings. Don't just think about it. Don't think this is everybody else's problem. This could be your kid, your niece, your nephew, your child, your spouse. So take the training to help us prevent suicides. If anybody can learn this life skill, if you can learn CPR, you can learn how to recognize a concern and how to respond in a life-saving way. That's my call to action. And if you or someone you know is thinking of suicide right now, reach out and call the 988 National Helpline phone number. And there will be people there to answer the call, to talk with you, to listen to you, and to walk with you wherever you're at in your life, to help bring you from a place of wanting to die to a place to wanting to live. So if you're here to be a support, take a training. If you're struggling, call the 988 number and know that people do care and they do want to help.
We'll drop that 988. It's a 988 number
988,
in the
yep,
show notes
3
as
numbers,
well.
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then a personal question.
Sure.
If you were talking to John today, what do you think he would say to you? What do you think would be his take on the impact that you're driving in the communities?
I haven't been asked that in a while. I think he would tell me he's proud of me.
We're all proud of you, Barb.
And that I should keep doing what I'm doing. Even when I get burned out, he'd be kicking me in the butt saying, get out there and keep doing the work. I think he would. I know he would say that. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Barb, I'm so moved and inspired by you, and I know Raise Nation would be too. Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for joining me today. This is going to be an episode that's absolutely going to go, down in the books for me, and hopefully all of Raise Nation Radio is moved as well.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Raise Nation, that is a wrap for today. I'm sure you're touched as I am. A big thank you to our guest, Barb Smith, just for sharing and normalizing her story. To all of you, you're the heartbeat of this community. Remember, your voices and experience make Raise Nation inspiring. So don't be a stranger. Please join us on the show, share your story, and let's continue building this incredible community together. Barb, thank you again. Keep doing what you're doing. We applaud you.
Thank you.
And until next time, to all of you, stay fearless and keep raising the nation. Fearless Fundraisers, that's a wrap for today. A heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their stories, insights, and expertise. And to you, our fantastic audience, for everything you do to build brighter tomorrows in our communities. We hope today's content inspires you to amplify your mission and grow your impact. Don't forget to join us for new episodes every Thursday, wherever you listen to your podcasts, or catch us on YouTube and on demand at onecause.com. And before we go, we'd love your help in growing this podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, follow, and subscribe to Raise Nation Radio. Share it with a friend, and please leave us a review so we can continue delivering content that inspires and empowers. Raise Nation Radio is produced in partnership with One Cause, your go-to for digital fundraising solutions that connect nonprofits with their donors and drive results. Visit onecause.com or scan the QR code to schedule a one-to-one with their fundraising experts and explore the latest tools and innovations to help you reach more and raise more. Plus, be sure to check out their extensive catalog of free resources to support your mission. All the links are in the show notes. Raise Nation Radio is inspired by the annual Raise Conference, presented by One Cause. We'd love to see you in person at the next Raise event in September. It's a 2-day experience featuring over 35 CFRE-accredited sessions, dynamic speakers, and the latest innovations from our sponsor pavilion, and priceless networking opportunities. And while you're there, don't miss the Fearless Fundraiser Party. It's where memories are made and lifelong friendships are formed. Secure your spot today at onecause.com/raise. The link is also in the show notes. Until next time, thank you for tuning in, and as always, stay fearless.